What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Double G Gaming and back to another podcast slash vodcast, whatever you want to call it. I'm not even numbering these or naming these. This is like what is this? Like the fourth, fifth week that I've done one of these, and I've gotten decent results in terms of views. And if you guys enjoy this stuff, please subscribe so I can see my channel growth. I've been stuck at like 130 subscribers for like the last 2 years, which makes no sense. But that's besides the point. We're going to get straight into the topics. We got little to no sports to talk about this week, and I'm pretty sure some of you probably enjoy that because you're just here to see this wrestling stuff. But I like to get the sports stuff out of the way in the beginning. And we had the Super Bowl winner, which was one of the worst games that I've seen in my life. No, I'm just kidding, but it was really boring to sit down and watch. I don't know if it was as boring as the Super Bowl 50 Denver Broncos and Panthers game, but it was up there. 13-3 was the final score. The Patriots won. Tom Brady got his sixth ring, and he says he's going to continue to play. So, all you Patriots hater, you'll be back for next year as well, I'm guessing. And I don't really mind him winning because whatever, it doesn't involve me. And I'm not a St. Louis fan. I'm not a New England fan, but I like what New England has done in the last couple of years, even though they do have those rumors of cheating. But whatever, that's in the eye of the beholder. But Bill Belichick is a good coach. He outcoached the hell out of the Rams. The Jared Goff is the Rams quarterback, I think. Oh, I said St. Louis. I meant to say Los Angeles. But yeah, that's about it. So we're not gonna have any more NFL talk for about what 6 months, 7 months until the NFL season comes back. Hopefully, I'm still doing these, and hopefully my channel grows a little bit more. But then on the NBA side, we have the NBA All Star Game coming up. The teams are gonna be selected tonight. Today is Thursday, the 7th. So we have the selection for the teams later on tonight. We won't know until later, so I can't give you those teams right now. I mean, they already have the who are all stars for this year, but I don't have the teams picked or anything, so I can't give you my thoughts on any of that. Even though it doesn't matter because the All Star game doesn't really mean much, just kind of like the Pro Bowl. But anyway, did you guys catch halftime heat? And boy, if you watched the actual halftime of the Super Bowl, sicko mode, what the hell is going on with that? SpongeBob, that would have been the greatest, uh, probably the greatest halftime show in the history of modern era, if you ask me. But no, they played sicko mode. I still didn't have a problem with that because I love sicko mode. But if they would have played Mo Bamba, then I would have had a problem with it because it's either sicko mode or Mo Bamba. But I always select sicko mode. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's besides the point. Again, I'm getting off topic. Let's just get straight into it. Velveteen Dream, Aleister Black, and Ricochet won that halftime heat match against Gargano, Ciampa, and Cole. It was a bunch of high spots, but it was more entertaining than the halftime show of the Super Bowl. Like I said, if you guys watched the halftime heat, you guys know what I'm talking about. It was just a lot of high spots during the match. Something that probably most people don't like, but it was whatever. It was just a throwaway match. It didn't really mean much, but however, Velveteen Dream is coming off his win in the the Worlds Collide tournament. He won his match against Tyler Bate in the finals, giving him a title match, title shot opportunity, title match. I don't know, but he's getting a title shot, and he selected to on this past episode of NXT. It seemed like he was going after Johnny Gargano for his NXT championship, so that should be an interesting match. Maybe they'll save it for WrestleMania weekend. Who knows? But if they do it before that, it should still be a good match. If they did it on the Takeover, it will be more memorable and more people would see it, and it would be more amazing. But they could also do Velveteen Dream beats Gargano for the championship, and then they do another Gargano Ciampa match, and this time finally Ciampa wins the big one at WrestleMania Takeover. That would be amazing as well. But let's see how they play it out. This is NXT, so have a little faith there, no matter what they do. But also in NXT news, we have Pat McAfee. I don't know if you guys know about this, but he's been on some of their kickoff shows. I know some of you guys don't really watch NXT kickoff shows because they don't really have matches on those things. So why would you watch them? But if you do watch the NXT kickoff shows, which I have been since I think War Games is when he first made his appearance, or New Orleans last year, he is hilarious to listen to and like entertaining to watch. So apparently he signed a deal with the WWE, meaning that he's going to be appearing on more different shows and stuff like that. So hopefully he doesn't just become another voice like Corey Graves or Renee Young. They just turn into the what the company wants them to be, just like another Michael Cole ripoff, like a Tom Phillips. But maybe something like a Vic Joseph and Pat McAfee on like a 205 Live cruiserweight and or NXT show would be entertaining to listen to. Vic Joseph is not as bad as his voice. I don't know if you guys like notice this, but like everybody has the same like raspy voice that Michael Cole has, especially when they're screaming. They always sound like they're screaming for some reason. Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, Corey Graves, and Michael Cole always sound like they're screaming for some reason, and they have like this raspy voice that makes it even like more annoying. I don't know if you guys have picked that up, but next time, whenever like something, even like when nothing amazing is happening, they're just screaming for no reason. It sounds like they're screaming to me. But next time, pay attention to like how Tom Phillips and Michael Cole call the action. They just sound so like oh so into it. I don't know. I'm trying to make the voice, but it hurt my throat as soon as I try to say it. But they put so much emphasis on it, and I just don't like it. But Vic Joseph, it doesn't sound like he has that type of voice. He doesn't have that like Tom Phillips, Michael Cole voice. Is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, maybe if they bring him up, he won't be as bad when Michael Cole really decides to step away from fucking calling Monday Night Raw. When is that coming? I feel like Jr. Jr. was around for as long as Michael Cole has been in terms of calling Monday Night Raw. Like Cole started in 2008, so it's been about 11 years. Jim Ross started in 93. He stopped in 2008, so it went about what is that 10? Yeah, like 15 years. So Jim Ross called Monday Night Raw for about let's give it like 13 years. Michael Cole is going on 11, so maybe 2 more years of Michael Cole. We could deal with that as long as this actually is going to be 2 more years of Michael Cole and then he leaves of calling Monday Night Raw. But yeah, that's enough of that. Vic Joseph and Pat McAfee, make it happen, WWE or NXT, one of the two. But don't micromanage them, please. Just let them do what they do. Speaking of micromanagement, let's move on to Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, we kicked off the show with Stephanie McMahon. So this was announced, I think, on Friday. Last time that I was recording the podcast last week, this was not announced yet, so I couldn't give my opinions on what I thought was gonna happen. But as soon as I saw that Becky Lynch and Stephanie McMahon were gonna be on the same show in the same segment, I was like, say goodbye to the Becky Lynch you all know and love, even though it's kind of been diminishing her the way that she's been portrayed. Like I said with the Royal Rumble recap, they don't treat her like a top star or anything. They just view her as whatever, another superstar on the roster, another talent on the roster. But when I saw that Becky Lynch and Stephanie McMahon was going to be on the same segment, I had zero hopes for that. I was like, oh, Stephanie McMahon is gonna make her look like shit. Becky Lynch isn't gonna say nothing, just kind of like when she is in the ring with Charlotte for whatever reason, or whenever she is approached by anybody else. If you guys have noticed for the last couple weeks, whenever Becky Lynch comes out first, and then somebody comes out to interrupt her, Becky Lynch says nothing else after that. Like she just stays quiet and either just like attacks or punches the person that interrupted her, but she doesn't say anything else to respond to what the person said. And I think that's exactly what happened here because I think Becky Lynch came out, interrupted Stephanie, and then Becky Lynch, they had a back and forth a little bit, but then Stephanie McMahon at the end said like something about get your knee checked out or you're gonna get suspended, and then Becky Lynch didn't say anything. I think I think she didn't say anything, and then Stephanie McMahon went to leave, and then just Becky Lynch started beating her up. The way that these people sell, like it is so annoying, especially with Michael Cole's track record or just WWE in general with their commentary. They're gonna bring this up at WrestleMania. They're gonna bring this up every show to remind you that she has a knee injury or had a knee injury, and it's just so freaking annoying. Like, why did you have to make it Why did you have to make this the storyline with her injured knee? It makes no sense. Like you could have had her even challenge Asuka again at WrestleMania, right? And still had the same "oh, you're scared of Ronda" storyline. And then she changes her mind, she attacks Ronda, and then the match is set. But no, she challenges Ronda, and now they're saying that she's scared, and that's why she doesn't want to go see the doctor. They're just adding so much like stupid stuff to the storyline that doesn't need to be added. Which, like, now there's speculation of Stephanie McMahon being added as a special referee to the match. Stop adding stuff to this stupid match. It doesn't need anything. Ronda, Becky, for the Women's Championship, whether it main events or not, that's all it needs. It's just those two people in a one-on-one match for the title. Stop making it more complicated than it has to be. And now, like, you're telling me that let's say that Becky Lynch goes in to WrestleMania with a hurt knee or whatever, right? You're telling me if Becky Lynch wins, you're telling me that Becky Lynch was able to defeat Ronda Rousey, a legitimate fucking UFC MMA athlete. She was able to beat her, not at 100%, but she lost to Asuka by tapping out in like 6 seconds after the Asuka hold was put on her at the Royal Rumble. She tapped to her in like 6 seconds at 100%. So she couldn't beat Asuka at 100%, but she can beat Ronda Rousey at less than 100%. That makes no sense. They're just making this storyline stupider and stupider every week. Is stupider even a word? I have no idea. But yeah, and then the whole stuff with Triple H. Once again, they made Becky Lynch look stupid. Oh, and before I get to the Triple H stuff, when Becky Lynch was beating up Stephanie, Stephanie even had to get the last fucking hit on Becky before she got away. I mean, come on, just makes no sense. Just have the referees or whatever pull Stephanie out of the ring, and Becky Lynch is looking strong. But no, instead you have to have Stephanie go over, right? Have her kick Becky down on her knee, and then she gets away. It's so stupid. Like this is so. The booking is so incredibly retarded. I'm sorry to say that word, but I'll probably bleep it out. You guys won't even know what I said, but it's so dumb. And then they do the stuff with Triple H, again making Becky Lynch look stupid because, or not stupid, but kind of weak, like a little bitch because she comes out, interrupts Charlotte to begin with, and the whole time that Becky Lynch is coming out, Charlotte is just running her down, trying to say some fucking corny ass jokes, by the way, but that's besides the point. She's trying to get some. I don't know if she's trying to be funny or if she's trying to get some heel heat, but the crowd is just not reacting to anything that Charlotte says or the jokes that she's trying to make about Becky. So Charlotte is just running down Becky as she's walking to the ring. She's making fun of her, and then Triple H comes out and then gets in the face of Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is just sitting there as Triple H runs her down, telling her that she's scared of Ronda Rousey or whatnot. So Triple H is running her down. Becky Lynch responds by saying nothing. She slaps him, and then they just face off, and then Becky Lynch is the first one to walk off. How is that making anybody look? How is that making Becky Lynch look strong for her match against Ronda Rousey? If that's gonna happen, it just befuddles me. I've never used that word in my life, but that's how this storyline is playing out right now. And then they have the Ric Flair birthday celebration on Monday Night Raw, and I'm guessing if the Charlotte adding Charlotte to the match is going to happen, I'm guessing Charlotte Flair will be there obviously to celebrate Ric Flair's birthday. And then she's like, "Oh, since I'm here on Monday Night Raw, why not just challenge Ronda Rousey, right? Oh, so Ronda Rousey, I'm challenging you. Becky Lynch is out. I want in. Stephanie McMahon or Triple H comes out. You got it because we love you or whatever." Charlotte is added to the match, and then weeks later, Becky Lynch returns. She's cleared or whatever, and then they make it a triple threat match. So I don't know why else they would have a Ric Flair birthday celebration on Monday Night Raw. I get that he's 70, so 70 is kind of like a big number to be turning, years old. But um, I don't know why else they would be having it other than to have Charlotte on Raw, giving her a reason to challenge Ronda Rousey for the Women's Championship. I just, it's just crazy. Like it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of them doing all this with Becky Lynch. Do you agree with me that it should just be Becky versus Ronda? Give them a storyline by themselves. Everybody's 100% healthy, or do you like what they're doing right now with the whole stuff like that they're doing? And speaking of Ronda Rousey, did you guys understand what she said in any of her promos on Monday Night Raw? I have no idea what she said, either backstage to Becky Lynch. And another thing, Ronda Rousey just talked shit to Becky Lynch, calling her a professional. And then that made Becky Lynch look even weaker because she didn't respond again. Like I said, like I keep saying, Becky Lynch had no response to what Ronda said. She had no response to what Stephanie said. She had no response to what Charlotte said. She had no response to what Triple H said, other than by punching them or attacking them. Or even at with the case of Ronda Rousey and Charlotte, she did nothing to them. At least this week, just making her look a little bit weaker every single week. She is not the Becky Lynch that we all fell in love with after SummerSlam when she was just kicking ass and going off on the mic. This is just this is just goes to show you that nothing has changed in WWE. Even though they said things were gonna change, the only thing that changed was no more general managers. That's the only thing that changed. We're still getting fucking rematches. We're still getting shitty storylines. Everything's the same except the McMahons are in charge now. And then moving on from the Becky Lynch stuff, because that was a big storyline, a big stuff that I wanted to talk about. Excuse me. But the Revival get another title shot. Are they actually going to win this time? Is it at the Elimination Chamber? How many matches do they have for the Chamber right now? I don't think they have enough. And we'll get to it later, but they're probably adding Rey Mysterio versus Andrade to that Chamber match card as well. They also added a Cruiserweight title match, but that's probably going to be on the pre-show. And like I said last week, you don't have to watch the pre-show, anybody. You don't have to watch it. They're just going to recap it for you on the main show. Okay? So, it's not going to be a 4-hour pay-per-view or a 5-hour pay-per-view if you don't make it that way. You can make it so that it's enough for you to consume as a viewer. You don't have to watch the entire thing. Speaking of which, like I was saying with the rematches and stuff, the Revival are going to get a rematch, and then they had this match on the card, which is really surprising to me. They had Kurt Angle and Braun Strowman taking on Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. I thought they should have saved that for WrestleMania, because now what do they do with those four guys? Are they going to do a rematch again at WrestleMania? Nobody's going to care, because they're going to be like, we saw this like 5 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw. Even though it didn't have a finish, we saw it 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. Why do we need it on WrestleMania? Maybe they'll do Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan. Maybe Jason Jordan comes back. Who knows? Uh, but yeah, I don't know what McIntyre, Strowman, Angle, and Corbin do at WrestleMania besides face each other again. Rollins, Seth Rollins, Sasha Banks, and AJ Styles are reported to be having injuries, so they're hoped to be able to. Obviously, Seth Rollins doesn't need to be ready for until WrestleMania, even because he doesn't have a match at the Chamber. So they don't really, if they don't have to, they shouldn't give him a match at Elimination Chamber. But Sasha Banks and AJ Styles, that's why they did the whole thing with Sasha Banks being drug out by by Alicia Fox and Nikki Cross on Monday Night Raw, and she didn't even get in the ring to in that match. But hopefully she'll be ready for the Elimination Chamber, because if they are not, who are they going to give the tag titles to? They're probably going to give it to like Carmella and Naomi, the dumbest possible uh, tag team that you can give it to. And AJ Styles as well with the hernia, I believe. I'm not too sure. I just wanted to mention that those three people were reported to be injured. I'm not sure what the injuries were, but AJ Styles came out on SmackDown and looked fine. He did a couple shots to Samoa Joe and stuff, so hopefully he'll be fine for the Chamber as well. Who does he face at WrestleMania? Speaking of who does he face, I don't know why I said that, but why is Jeff Jarrett on my TV in the year 2019? I get that he came back and is in a backstage role, or whatever, but why is he having matches on Monday Night Raw? And why is he going over younger talent like Elias? For a second, I was like, okay, Elias is getting another push again since he turned back heel. He lost to Baron Corbin twice before the Rumble, and he beat Jeff Jarrett. Okay, I see why Jeff Jarrett was on TV to put Elias over, but no. At the end of it, Road Dogg and Jeff Jarrett go over Elias. And speaking of which, did I mention this in last week's episode? But why is Road Dogg coming out to do the whole DX stuff? He's with Road Dogg. He's not with Billy Gunn or Triple H or Shawn Michaels or X Pac. Why is he doing the DX Suck It stuff? And speaking of Suck It, remember last week when I mentioned to you guys the What's Wrong with Wrestling podcast? Apparently, if you say Suck It to Road Dogg on Twitter, he's going to block you because that's what happened to them. To What's Wrong with Wrestling podcast, to one of the hosts. He does like verse Bibles or something every day, so I'm guessing that's why, but he like tweeted to him, "Suck it," or "I got two words for you, suck it," and then Road Dogg blocked him on Twitter. So you can't say "suck it" to Road Dogg on Twitter, but he can come out and do his whole spiel from the '90s on Monday Night Raw when we don't need it. The moment of bliss again, kind of like why does Nia come out every single time, and it's never really about Alexa Bliss asking the questions because for the most part either the interview has been like 3 minutes, 2 minutes long, and then somebody comes out and interrupts, or actually, I think that's happened every single time. Somebody just comes out and interrupts. So what the hell is the point of the moment of bliss? It's been ass this whole time, and I remember when this first was coming out, I told you guys. I don't mean to be brag or anything, but I told you guys it was either gonna be decent, not good, not great like Miss TV or the highlight reel, just decent, like passable, or it was going to be ass. And for the most part, it has been ass. Why is Nia Jax still employed? I think it was reported last week that Nia Jax injured or roughed up R-Truth at the Royal Rumble when she came out and took his spot in the Rumble. And how does she still have a job? Like, this makes no sense to me. You can say like Seth Rollins, why does he still have a job after all those injuries? But those were more kind of like not fluke injuries. But what do you call it? Like when it's just out of nowhere. Like it's not really. It wasn't meant to be an injury. It just happened. I don't know. Like it was actually an accident. Like when he does the buckle bombs, how do you expect? Like a Sting shouldn't be taking a buckle bomb, obviously. But when a Finn Balor takes a buckle bomb, other people have taken that same exact buckle bomb into the into the barricade and have been fine. With the whole stuff with John Cena, that was another accident because who would have thought that that could happen to anybody? Now, if it happened to Nia Jax, it wouldn't be an accident. It would just be her being careless. But like if a CM Punk did it to Rey Mysterio, I don't know why I just said that, but I remember one at Armageddon 2008. CM Punk gave Rey Mysterio the GTS and it busted Rey Mysterio open. That's why that came to mind. But yeah, that Seth Rollins to John Cena injury was kind of an accident as well when he hit him in the nose. But with Nia Jax, come on, it's gotten to the point where it's just like too many and too little of time. Like at least Seth Rollins, it was like for with Seth Rollins, it was like those 3 or 4 injuries in a span of like 2 years. But he was on TV for like 5 years at the time, 5 or 6 years. Nia Jax has been on TV for what has it been? 2016 for 3 years, and she's already injured more than that many. She's already injured more than 3 people. Selena Vega, R-Truth, Lana, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, probably Bailey, probably Asuka. I don't know. Like the list keeps going on and on. Like, did the Rock really kiss? Did the Rock really kiss that much ass? Like CM Punk said. Is that why all his family is employed, no matter if they're good or bad? Like, come on now. Why are these Samoans? And it's mostly the Samoans that I really have a problem with because they are the main ones that suck. I mean, the Usos were bad tag team before they turned heel in 2016. I mean, they were okay for the kids, but their character was really kind of shitty. And Tamina is ass, but she probably is gonna say she probably has something with Jimmy Snuka that she's like, I'm gonna tell the world about the whole Jimmy Snuka situation if you guys release me, so you guys better keep me employed. And Vince is like, okay. And Nia Jax as well, like she's just ass. All these Rock family members are employed that really shouldn't be on the roster. Let's talk a little bit about SmackDown now. We had some Chamber participants facing off against each other on SmackDown. Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan was alright, but it ended in DQ. And if you guys have seen my pay per view rankings from worst to best, either 2017 or 2018, you guys know that I hate DQ finishes. But this was kind of warranted. You don't really want to see who wins here. You want to save it for a championship match. Maybe after WrestleMania, Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan. We'll get that. I don't really want to see it as my Mania match, but if you put it at WrestleMania, Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan, and if it gets to a dead spot, I don't think anybody would mind the Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan match at WrestleMania for the title. If it is in the dead spot, like Nakamura and AJ Styles were last year. If you put it in a more prominent spot where people will care more, maybe say Jeff Hardy for after WrestleMania. But I wouldn't mind a Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan championship match one of these days, maybe before WrestleMania, even at Fastlane, after the Chamber. But Mustafa Ali versus Orton was another one of those matches, and that one actually was pretty decent at the end. Orton giving him that amazing RKO out of nowhere and busting or giving Mustafa Ali a swollen eye in the process as well. Obviously, I don't think it was with the RKO because how do you give somebody a swollen eye with the RKO? But I think he like stomped on his face at the wrong time, and that's how he got it. But both Mustafa Ali and Daniel Bryan got some busted up eyes going into the Chamber, and Samoa Joe was all over the place with these matches. He came out and interrupted after this match and got his hands on Ali, threw him out. Got his hands on Orton, took him out. I don't know if he gave him the coquina clutch, but yeah, Joe coming out, and maybe we're gonna get a Samoa Joe versus Randy Orton feud at WrestleMania or leading into WrestleMania to a match. I wouldn't mind that either. And my opinion, my thought is this: whoever eliminates Randy Orton at the Elimination Chamber is probably gonna face him at WrestleMania. Because think about it, if AJ Styles or Samoa Joe eliminate him, those are like two good opponents for him at WrestleMania. Because what do Joe or Styles do at WrestleMania besides face him? Because I don't see them going after the championship. Those three, I could see them giving fucking Mustafa Ali a championship match at WrestleMania. It would be ridiculous, but I could see it happening. Who do they give a championship match at WrestleMania for the WWE title? Like, this is like the most interesting thing. Could Finn Balor maybe come over from Monday Night Raw and take that spot? But once again, like I said, like if they give the championship the dead spot, is anybody gonna care? But I kind of want to see who takes that spot. I wouldn't mind them giving it to Mustafa Ali, Jeff Hardy, even Rusev, if it's gonna be like in the dead spot, because that match isn't gonna matter at the end of it. But if it's going to be like a Finn Balor, I mean that's the only person that I could think of that could put on a good match. But they have to put it on the right in the right spot on the card, especially 5 hours of a show. Fans aren't gonna care if it's at the end, especially if it's not the main event, which it's not going to be. Daniel Bryan is not going to main event WrestleMania this year. And my contact is coming out. Jesus Christ. Alright, I got it back in. That was crazy. And Daniel Bryan was in his hometown this week, and fans were cheering him. I hope this does not continue in the weeks following and going forward because he should. I like him as a heel. Like I get that what he's doing is awesome. It's it's fine. His character is doing what it's supposed to be doing, getting people to hate him, and he's doing his job. So I get why people would cheer him, especially in his hometown. But don't just cheer him because he's doing the right thing. give him the booze, give him the hatred, because if they turn him, he's going back to the Daniel Bryan, the DS movement. Daniel Bryan, he wasn't really doing much when he came back. He was kind of just spinning his, what do you call it, spinning his wheels, and kind of being boring with his promos. Right now, there's at least something entertaining with him. So for the love of God, don't just cheer him because his work rate is amazing and his promos are entertaining or whatever. Like, don't just cheer him because he's doing a good job. Boo him because he's doing a good job as a heel. Hopefully, it was just because he was in his hometown and it doesn't continue on going forward. And speaking of going forward, over under how many matches Rey Mysterio and Andrade have until WrestleMania? My guess is 5. Do you guys think over or under that? These guys are just going back and forth. Remember, I said this? I think I said this. I said people are wanting this match to keep happening. And after a certain amount of times, you're not going to want to see it again. I don't know why people kept saying they wanted to see it. Because now you're going to keep getting it. You're going to keep getting it all right. You wanted it, you're going to get it. Rey Mysterio and Andrade, 20th time at WrestleMania in a best of 37. Also, speaking of who faces Bryan at WrestleMania, who's going to face Asuka at WrestleMania? There's nobody on SmackDown that is on the same level. At first, I was like, maybe they can do Ember Moon, but she's injured as well, but she's actually like injured and out. She's probably injured and out through WrestleMania, not like AJ Styles, Rollins, or Sasha Banks. But I could have seen Ember Moon versus Asuka, but now, and I don't see them calling up anybody from NXT to take her on. But that could also be interesting if they do like a Kairi Sane or Shayna Baszler versus Asuka. But I could see them, or I wouldn't mind them doing Charlotte versus Asuka too. That would keep Charlotte away from the Becky Ronda stuff, and then that would allow Becky and Ronda to just have a one-on-one match. And 2 top caliber women's matches at WrestleMania. I'm down for that. Charlotte versus Asuka for the SmackDown title, Becky versus Ronda for the Raw title. You can't book it any better than that. It's right in your face. Just do it. That's all my thoughts I had on this week for wrestling and some of the sports. Not really much about sports, and probably not for a while because the NFL season is over and the NBA is going into the All-Star break. So I will not be back next week for a podcast, but I will be back for a predictions episode for the Elimination Chamber. And this week, or next week, for the predictions, I'm going to be doing it a little bit different. I'm going to have a little fun with it. I'm going to be doing a scorecard, which I learned or I found out from the What's Wrong with Wrestling podcast. Again, I'm giving these guys all the shout outs in the world, but they have a little scorecard game that they play. I'll give you kind of like a little example of it on the screen right now. They have like the matches, the outcomes, what do you think is gonna happen, and they kind of give each other points and stuff like that. So we'll fill out the scorecard. If you guys want to play at home, feel free. Next week I'll give you guys the scorecard. Hopefully, What's Wrong with Wrestling has one out, so I can kind of get it from them, and I'll give them a shout out as well next week. But hopefully they have one out. I'll have it on the screen. I'll have it for you guys. I'll give you a link to it. You guys can fill it out, and then we can compare them at after the Elimination Chamber to see who got more points and more predictions right. So that's how we're going to do the Elimination Chamber predictions. AEW has a press conference for Double or Nothing tonight. Today is Thursday, hoping to get this out by Friday. Whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon or at night, I don't know, because my internet is super slow. And I don't know when YouTube is going to decide to upload, or my internet is going to decide to upload, how fast it's going to decide to upload, that is. So, I will not be back for a podcast next week, remember that. I'll be back for Elimination Chamber predictions in a different way with a scorecard. Remember to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Go back and check out some of my other content. Let me know how you guys feel about that. Also, if you guys enjoyed, hopefully I gave you guys a WWE 2K19 Raw, SmackDown, NXT 205 Live kind of recap version. Everything that happened on Raw in WWE 2K19, the video game. I kind of redid it and edited it for you guys. So if you guys enjoyed that, let me know in the comments that you enjoyed it, and I'll do it for next video and the video after that and the video after that. Just so you guys don't have to just sit through pictures and stills of certain topics that I'm talking about. You guys can also be watching the recap in video game form, which is, I think, pretty neat if you ask me. So with that being said, thanks for watching. I'm out.